What's up? We got Legend of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 9, Beebo, the God of War. So this episode starts off in 1993, where we see a young Martin Stein. Yes, after the end of the last episode of the crossover where Martin Stein died, having the next episode follow that be his younger self is kind of interesting. So this episode's all about, like, Martin Stein really wants his Beebo doll, which is the mascot of the Legend of Tomorrow franchise, for his daughter Lily, who's now young in this season. So in this episode, so he wants it for her, but then they're like, oh yeah, we have no more Beebos. And then one of the guys sees, hey, there was a Beebo up there. So Martin's able to, like, use his power to, use his arrow linguistics to fire the arrow, which makes him catch it. So a bunch of people catch him, but then he disappears in it, but then he vanishes in a golden glow. Then he ends up in a forest chased down by Vikings. So, yes. Now back on the Wave Rider. Leo Snart, the Earth-X doppelganger of Leonard Snart, who joined the team, I guess, is now consoling the team over their death of Martin with a puppet version of Martin Stein. Yeah, this is the plot. This is his whole thing in the episode. Yes. So some of them take it like he's like, talk to Martin Stein. Yeah. Some people take it like, Amaya's like, oh yeah, there's not what we need right now. Mick actually destroys it because he hates puppets. And Jax doesn't want to do anything with it because it reminds him of his dead partner. So yeah. So they get an anachronism about and it seems like the Vikings have taken over England. And he tells them about taking over New York. Because it's like, hey, the Vikings would eventually leave, but the new timeline, they decided to conquer the new land and change it from New York to New Valhalla. Yes. Again, literally the plot. So Sarah and the others decide to go, and they find Martin, who reveals to them that they think Beebo is some god, and they thought that he's the reason why Beebo could talk. But now he realizes that Beebo can't, that he's the reason why Beebo could talk. But then he realized Beebo could talk on his own, so now they worship Beebo as a god. Again, yes, this is literally the part of the episode. Last time we had Gorilla Grodd. This time we have Beebo. So yeah. So now they worship Beebo as a god. And who decides to help out? But Ava, who sides, yeah, she reveals that since the Vikings worship Beebo as a god and took over the world, they would eventually, Christmas does not exist. And it's Beebo Day. Because of course it is. So they realize that that's the part of the anachronism. Beebo is a part of the anachronism, and they must stop it to save the world, apparently. So also Mick is dealing with the fact is that his beer doesn't taste right, and it's revealed that that Leo changed it, and Mick isn't happy about this because he says about, yeah. So they decide to go, and Mick attempts to steal Beebo. They're having a good time with the Vikings, until guess what? Mick steals Beebo. So they have to fight it. So they have to stop the Vikings. But then they're like, oh yeah, Beebo. But then they're like, oh yeah, Beebo wants to spare them, and that's when they realize that Beebo isn't a god, and they're like, "Hey, Christmas is saved." But then Ava reveals that it's now been changed to Odin Day because guess what? Damien Dark shows up and pretends to be Odin, and yeah, now he's like the Vikings. He tells the Vikings now to serve him. Yeah, the episode. And yeah, meanwhile they find Martin, and Martin's question. They find young Martin, and young Martin questions why his older self isn't on the ship, and they say he's spending time with his family. So yeah, so Zari tells Jax to tell young Martin the truth, and he gives him a letter. He decides to send him back to 1993 to spend time with his daughter. He gives him a letter telling him to open it on December in 2017, and he doesn't read it because he knows that he doesn't read it. He burns it, and Jax is just trying to beg him that this will save his life. But he's like, yeah, no, I don't want to learn anything that could have changed my future, because if I did, it would alter my reason to meet you. So, yeah. So the Time Bureau's like, yeah, no, we don't want you to help the Legends. So Ava leaves. But Sarah decides to come up with a plan. She wears a completely different suit, unless we see the different White Canary suit before. This is the first time that she's worn it. She changes suits for some reason and talks to them about how she's gonna kill Dark. Yeah, but then they're gonna like show up and pretend to. So they show up, blast him, and blast Dark, and that's when Beebo tells them, "Hey, don't follow them and be good." Which then, yeah, but then when Sarah touches Dark, they blast Nora, but Dark attempts to get them out of there before Sarah can do it. She's tempted into this blue misty reality with Mollis, tempting her until Ava saves her and reveals that they fixed the anachronism, and now it's back being Christmas again. So yeah, so Jax, as I said before, Jax goes back to reveal why he didn't read it, and yeah, so Jax decides to leave the team because, yeah, he decides to leave the team. Jack decides to leave the group because he says, hey, when Martin brought him on the ship, they were just a bunch of crooked, broken heroes, but now he's like a family. So he decides to leave the group. But when Sarah goes back to the Waverider, she discovers another person on the ship, John Constantine. And he reveals to her that she needs his help in helping a little girl. End of episode. So, well, John Constantine. We haven't seen him since Arrow Season 4. And now he's in Legend of Tomorrow Season 3. Yeah, he also mentions the last time he and Sarah saw each other, he saved her soul in Arrow Season 4, Episode 5. That was kind of a good nod. Even though Arrow Season 4 is terrible, but that was a good nod to that episode and how he saved her life in it. So, what does John want now? He does say he wants help with saving a little girl. And I guess Mollis knows her. And he knows her name, Sarah's name. So what's going to happen now? Next we got Arrow, Season 6, Episode 9. Yep. So, I wonder what's going to happen now. Jax is now left because without Martin. I guess without Martin, he doesn't. Yeah, I wish Jax would have became a full-time superhero without Martin. He could have gotten himself real power, but no, he just leaves. Like, I guess meeting young Martin made him come to terms with Martin Stein's death. I don't know. I'm just saying that maybe he came to terms with Martin Stein's passing. But yeah, and also they reveal having a Rip is that Rip was on trial and he tried to like explain to them that Mollis was real, but now now Rip's in jail, and now they're gonna have to explain that Rip was right, that Mollis is real. And yeah, I guess they're gonna have to explain that that Mollis is real. But yeah, so this has been my review of Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, Episode 9, Beebo the God of War. And I'll see you next time on a new Arrow episode.